Hey everyone, I'm Hashim. Welcome back to another Pushing Film video. Today I'm going to discuss and give a summary of popular film holders that you would use for holding your film when digitizing or scanning it with a digital camera or DIY film scanning. Whatever you want to call it, I think that if you've made the decision to digitize or scan your own film at home, I think it's a good decision. It can save you a lot of money, especially with the continually rising costs of shooting film at the moment. And it just opens up a lot of opportunity in terms of getting the film scans just how you like them and developing your own workflow and custom look. And if you're so inclined to do this kind of stuff yourself, I think it's a good investment. So I want this video to be a little bit of an introduction for someone who's really not familiar with all these options that are on the market. And also, I want you to realize that these are not all of the options on the market. These are three of the most popular brands, being the Essential Film Holder, the Veloy, and the Negative Supply stuff. I know there's other things like the Skya Copy Box and stuff from Kaiser and Lomography and 3D printed options and DIY things, but this video isn't about that. This video is just an introduction to three of the most popular options on the market. So with that in mind, I would remind you that don't just take my opinion, watch a bunch of reviews. If you're about to invest in something, especially if it's on the most expensive side, watch a bunch of reviews. Experience is usually the best, but if you combine that with other people's opinions and experience and get a few of them, you'll make a better decision. So if you're getting into this whole world of DIY film scanning, one of the first things you probably want to start with is a film holder, but there's other elements to it. So what I'm going to do throughout this video is refer to other videos I've made, and I'll put links to them when mentioned in the description of the video. I'll also probably talk about some future videos I might do. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out about those as they get released, because I continue to have a personal interest in scanning my own film and all the gear that is available. And I think we're really lucky to have so many options on the market now, whereas not long ago, there was barely anything. So the way I've laid it out on the table at the moment for you to see from the camera's perspective is from cheapest to most expensive within these popular three brands that I've mentioned. From the cheapest would be getting something as simple as the Veloy film mask or just the bare bones film holder. And for that sake, anything similar to this. So if you want to start looking outside of this range of options, there are often really simple bare bones plastic holders, which are basically trying to hold your film and allow you to keep it flat while taking an image of it with your camera in order to scan it. So from Veloy, you can get the masks alone, and they sell these for about 39 US dollars per mask, which is about 61 Australian dollars for anyone watching from Australia. But I'll try and talk in US dollars throughout the video because it's just the easiest to convert all these into. And I know that the majority of viewers understand roughly what US dollars would translate into. So about 39 US dollars plus shipping per mask. There's 35 mil and 120. And there's also masks I think you can get to further mask it down to smaller sizes, but I won't complicate stuff with that now. Just realize that that would be the cheapest option from what I've got on the table. The next option up in terms of price is the Essential Film Holder, which comes in at £73 for just 35 mil or £90 for this kit, which is 35 mil plus 120. You can see that there's both masks. You just take 35 mil off to scan 120, and £90 shipped worldwide is the equivalent of about 99 US dollars. Or if you're in Australia, that's currently around 157-ish, I think, Australian dollars. But you can do the math. And I think the fact that it includes shipping makes it really good value, but we'll get more into that later. If you're not familiar with EFH, I've been using it for years. It's been around for longer than most of these options here. And I've got some videos on the channel, including my comparison to the Veloy Advancer system. But if you want to dive into that, you can check that video out later. The next option up in terms of price would be getting something from Negative Supply's basic range. So Negative Supply, which has the largest range of products when it comes to scanning film, offer their basic range, which is what it sounds like. It's just a basic film holder. But the difference between this and the EFH, however, is you'd be buying separate holders for 35 mil or 120, which can be an advantage in some ways, but a disadvantage obviously in terms of the cost of buying two separate holders. This might be good for you if you're only scanning one format. And the great thing about Negative Supply's basic range is that it's also compatible with their other wide range of accessories, such as their light sources and the masks that are designed to fit the light sources, and then the actual holders as well. So if you're looking to build an ecosystem slowly and you want it to all be from within one brand, that could be a good way to go. And the 35mm basic holder comes in at $99 US, whereas the 120 basic holder comes in at $199 US. The reason why this is a big jump up in price is it has more parts and it has moving parts at that, and it actually quite well holds your film flat while you advance it through the aperture. But I won't go into those details. We'll just jump up to the next option in terms of price, which is the Veloy 360 Advancer, which comes in the Pro Kit and other options on their website that you can check out. I'll put the link in the description. So this is where you enter into the most expensive options on the table here, which are the options that offer an advancer. So this is a jump up from the basic negative supply stuff, coming in at a price of, let's say for the Pro Kit, which would be the advancer, both of the film holders for 35mm and 120, and the diffuser, that would be $245 US plus shipping. So that makes the most cost-effective option if you want something that has the wheel advancer, so you don't manually advance your film, you want to use little wheels. And then the next option up would be the stuff from Negative Supply in terms of their Pro carriers. Something like this 120 heavy duty Pro 120 carrier. And this comes in at a price of $499 US for the 120 Pro carrier. And then they just updated their 35mm carrier, which is available on the market for $399, I believe, at the time of making this video. And when it comes to all of Negative Supply stuff, they do free shipping, at least to the US, and they also do free shipping for anything over $99 for international customers. And it's pretty easy to satisfy that because, you know, this is priced at $99 and most of it is above that. So that should give you an idea of the price range that you'll be looking at when going with some of these. And I think that's the best place to start, is to decide how much you want to spend in this, at least when you're starting off, and to give you an idea of the vast range of prices for something as simple as a film holder, because they'll all really do the same thing, is hold your film nice and flat with some level of masking so you can put it above a light, take a photo of it and scan your own film. But the price ranges from $40 or $50 US all the way to $400 or $500 US in terms of what I've got on the table here. Plus, you're going to be spending a lot more if you don't already have the rest of the kit, which might consist of some kind of light source, maybe a copy stand or a tripod if you don't already have one, the camera, of course, macro lens, and so on. All right, so to summarize my opinion in terms of the best options for different categories that I've broken it down to, I think personally, there's a big jump in price range when you go above something around $99, and that $100 price point seems to be the most popular one in terms of people I've spoken to, how much they will tend to spend, at least when starting off, and for most people. So the best all-rounder for most people at that sort of mid to entry-level price point of around $100 US, in my opinion, is the essential film holder. Of course, you can go with something cheaper and more basic, like the Veloy masks, and they do also offer a mask kit, which is both of their masks plus a diffuser at a price point very close to the EFH, and I think it's designed to sort of compete with it. But in my opinion, the EFH makes a better option, just in my opinion. Again, keep that in mind, because of a couple of main factors. The fact that, number one, the diffuser is at an appropriate height from the film apertures where you're scanning the film. With something like this, you'd be placing it straight on the light source. But in my experience, it's better to get the light source away from the film, and the diffuser on the EFH is of a really good quality. It diffuses the light quite well, even if you have one of those light sources that puts out those little spots. So in my opinion, it's just the best all-in-one system with the most appropriate height of film away from the diffuser and or light source. The way it's stacked like this, it actually functionally works quite well. And for most people, in most use case scenarios, I think that's the best option if you don't want to spend too much more than about $100. The next recommendation I would make for the best mid-range is broken down into two subcategories. If you're only scanning one format, let's say it's just 35mm or 120, I think the best mid-range option is Negative Supply's basic stuff. However, if you have a mid-range budget, that's where the decision gets a lot harder, and I would recommend that you watch more reviews to figure out what it is that you want in your scanning system. Are you really set on having an advancer? In which case the Veloy Pro Kit might work best for you. If you really want the advancer, you want to do both systems on one with that mid-range price point, maybe that will work. Maybe you'd prefer to have the standalone basic holders from Negative Supply, which offer great functionality, but you're going to spend a little bit more for buying two. Or you could just stick with something like the Essential Film Holder, which will offer you both of those. It's going to save you the money, which you could spend on a light source, for example. So the mid-range price point is the most difficult, and that's why I'd recommend figuring out your budget first, what fits within it, how many formats do you want to scan, and what features are you after from within all these. And that's where you would probably want to go and watch additional videos, whether they're mine or someone else's, and then figure out what works best for you. The next category in terms of my recommendations is for the high-end category. So if you take this very seriously, money's not much of an issue, and you're maybe scanning for a lab or as a home scanning service or for your friends, or you're just scanning a lot of film, then I would say go with the Negative Supply Pro stuff. Spend a little bit extra from something like the Veloy and just get the Negative Supply Pro carrier, whether it's 35mm or 120, or even both if you have the money for it. These are built the best. They're the most solid, functional, smooth operating, especially in terms of the Advancer, and the availability of accessories and masks and compatibility with their light sources and copy stands and all that sort of stuff. And just the overall build quality makes them the best professional option for DIY film scanning, in my opinion. But of course, that comes at a price. So I hope this video gave you some kind of summary or rundown of this vast array of options when it comes to film holders that we have on the market right now. We really are spoiled for choice. There's even more than this, but I think this should serve as some kind of launching point for you to figure out what suits you and your budget and your specific use case scenario. So again, don't just trust my opinion, watch a bunch of different reviews, try one of these if you can, if you have a friend that has one, or watch reviews based on the opinion of multiple people's experience, because I think that's a good way to go. But if you just want my recommendations, I think it was an easy one to make in terms of that all-rounder for the EFH. The mid-range decision is a bit harder once again, and the all-out best of the best decision easily goes to the Negative Supply Pro carriers. They just launched an upgrade to their 35mm carrier, which is called the 35mm Pro carrier. I hope to get my hands on one of those soon and maybe do a video about the professional line of Negative Supply stuff. Within that, I would like to also talk about their other range of items, like their Pro copy stand, some of the things like the light sources I've already covered. And if you want a rundown of their basic Film Riser copy stand, you can check that out in this video, which I'll put in a card or in the description. But like I said, we're spoilt for choice. There's so much on the market right now. It's way better than it used to be, let's say 5 years ago. And if you want a video on covering any specific aspect of DIY film scanning equipment, let me know. Is there any particular item or piece of gear or combination of gear that you want me to review or compare? Drop it in the comments. So if you're just getting into this, enjoy the journey of getting into scanning your own film. It is a deep rabbit hole. There is a lot of money that you can spend on this. You don't need to, but you can spend a lot of money, and it's really up to you how you want to go with it. But I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Pushing Film video.